Alright folks, hello again, welcome back to my channel. Now let me start off by painting a picture. You've taken up woodworking and you've been making small items like candle holders, charcuterie boards, cheese boards, chopping boards, and you would like to turn that hobby into either a bit of a side hustle or would like to turn it into a small independent business. Really interesting way to go, but that does involve the art of sales, and that's what this video is all about. I'm going to share some of my experiences from a UK small independent business, both positive and negative, what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me. So if you're kind of on the cusp of wanting to push your hobby a little bit more into a business sense, then stick around for the next few minutes and hopefully you might get a little bit of good advice from it. Now, the art of sales can be a very difficult skill indeed to master, and if you are kind of the creative mind and you like the manufacturing process, then maybe those skill sets don't often translate into being an outgoing, confident salesperson. I know I personally have really struggled with that and have continued to struggle, but I'm trying to adapt and I'm trying to improve myself. What I'm doing in this video, I've broken it down into 6 categories where there's the opportunity for you to sell your wooden items or your custom items or whatever it is you're doing from your little woodworking workshop, and I'm going to relate my experiences to these, whether it's been positive for me in terms of good sales or whether it's been something I've stayed away from. And I'm going to start with the first one, which is Etsy. Now, the likes of Etsy and similar websites are pitched at artisan makers to sell their bespoke craft items literally to a worldwide audience. Now, the experiences I'm going to share, you may agree or disagree with them. I'd love to hear both sides of the argument in the comment section, so let me know what you think when you start to hear my experiences of this. I've done a lot of homework on Etsy and my conclusion was to stay away from it. Why is that? Firstly, I think it's a real saturated market on there. If you were to search chopping boards or charcuterie boards, there will be hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of items on there. And how are you going to make yours stand out? And also, I do think there's a bit of a race to the bottom style stuff with Etsy. There is a lot of mass-produced items on there and the prices kind of reflect that. So if you've got a handcrafted item that has taken you quite a period of time to make and you've got a lovely finish on it and you want to charge what you believe that to be worth, and that could be 100% more expensive than thousands of other listings on Etsy. That's probably the reason why I've stayed away from it. There's also the commissions involved in Etsy. So if you're factoring in that really with the likes of what we're selling here, particularly in the UK with, I've mentioned this last week, with the significant high costs of hardwoods and consumables, your margins are always going to be tight. So if those commissions are eating into that, is it actually worth it? Okay, that's the question that you need to ask yourself with the likes of Etsy. That was the question I asked myself and made the decision to stay away from it. What I would say about Etsy is if you have a genuinely unique product that when you search on there, there's no particular competition, then Etsy does offer you a worldwide audience. You know, you've got to factor in things like postage and all those kind of extras with it. But if you have something you genuinely believe is unique and you can pitch that in a confident manner in your design and your sales pitch on there, then yeah, go for it, because the world is 7 billion people, you know, and that's a huge market. But if you're literally just starting out and you're selling, you make a dozen chopping boards a month, is Etsy the place to be marketing and selling them? No, I don't think it is. The second method I want to talk about is also online based, which is hosting your own website. Now, I do have quite a bit of experience in this, having set up my own website when I officially became a business at the start of 2023. Now, why did I do that? Well, it gives you control. That's, you know, like, it allows me to get my brand awareness out there. I can have latest news update tabs. So when I have affiliate things with the likes of Bench Dogs or O3A, where it gives me discount codes, I can share all those links in the latest news. I can write blog posts on there, but also it gives me 2 extra things that I wanted to kind of be in control of instead of the likes of Etsy. Firstly, it allows me to set up my own online shop, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And secondly, it allows me to host my own web members platform, kind of like the likes of Patreon or YouTube, but it's something that I'm in control of and I can run independently via my own website. So I have a monthly subscription, £3 if people want to sign up, gives you access to things like behind the scenes footage, ad-free versions of the YouTube videos, that kind of thing. But what the online shop allows me to do is I'm just an independent seller from my workshop here, and I don't have the likes of commission fees. I can put up whatever I want to on there. If I'm offering bespoke items, I can give options for what people can look at and can contact me, and I can interact in that way. What's worked on it? Well, let me be honest about these things. My own individual products, so my the hand-dyed craft wood wax, which is, you know, it's quite unique in the sense that it's vegan friendly. It doesn't use beeswax. It uses carnauba wax as an alternative. It's proved to be a real success. Selling this via my own website has been a real success for me. All right, if I was selling that on Etsy, then obviously I'd have all those kind of commissions being taken out and stuff. But actually, selling my own products, I also have the hand-dyed crafted tea light holder jig, which is sold well. Those unique items to me, so like the hand-dyed craft brand, have sold really well via my website. The wooden items, like the charcuterie boards, cheese boards, those kind of things, not so much. In fact, sales on my website for those physical items have been slow. The reasons behind that, I think personally there's still an aspect of, if people are wanting to buy and spend some money on these items, I think a lot of people, I'm quite old school in this respect, is I like to pick stuff up, you know, feel the quality of the finish, look at, you can see that it's, you know, a handcrafted item, that there's been a lot of love, care and attention that's gone into it. It's just not a mass-produced thing that's been created in Southeast Asia, brought over and sold en masse. And I think people are willing to pay that, but I think they want it in the hand, and I'll deal with those kind of things later. So trying to market and sell them via my website has been a tough sell, and it hasn't really worked very well for me. What has been good on my website is bespoke items. So items where people are wanting a one-off commission. They've gone onto my website, they've seen photographs of previous commissions, that kind of thing. They've used a contact us forum, and that's opened up a dialogue between me and them, resulting in one-off type sales. That's worked really well. So the positives of having a website far outweigh the negatives to me. If you've got, you know, an independent business running, you've got unique items to sell, and you've got other stuff that you could possibly bring to the table, things like the membership platform, you know, you're on creative, you know, you're a content creator, that kind of thing. In terms of managing financially, it costs me around, I think it's about £40 a month to host the website, to have the online shop, and to have a membership platform. It's all done via Squarespace. Video's not sponsored by Squarespace. I'm probably one of the only people who isn't, despite the fact they use it. And so you're looking at those kind of figures. You know, you obviously, if you want the web membership platform thing, the paywall thing, you obviously have to pay extra for that. You want the online shop, I think you have to pay a bit extra for that, that kind of thing. So if you can budget around £500 a year to have your own website, web members platform, online shop, then I think that represents good value, and it certainly worked for me. But it hasn't worked for me in relation to actually selling the wooden items on there. Maybe I haven't marketed it well enough. Maybe I need to have more variety. I need to get onto Martin Chops Designs and get more templates. I don't know, but the actual wooden items thing online, not been great. Unique products, it's worked really well. The next one is an interesting one because I see it as a natural first progression for someone who's just starting out and they want to sell their woodworking items at things like a craft fair, an artisan market, Christmas fair, Easter fair, that kind of thing. And you would pay for a table, what you get for the day, and that's usually 20 to 25 quid up here in the northwest of England, sometimes £30, and you might have to pay extra for a stand behind you. You fill your table with all your wonderful craft bespoke items, and you then become a salesperson for the day. Now, I'm going to talk, there are definite positives and negatives to this, and I have shared my experiences in probably one of my most successful videos of this year. How much money did I make at, it was around Easter time, I seem to recall. And I absolutely tanked. I didn't sell one item the entire day, which was quite demoralizing. You try and, you take the positives from it. There was a lot of discussions going on, meeting people, business cards handing out. I had my QR code on my little banner at the front, people taking away. And I have had business since, but you can't take away from the fact that if you set up a market stall for the day and you don't sell one physical item that day, it was tough. Now, be prepared for things like that. What I would say for the craft market world is I see it as quite seasonal. If you are thinking of doing one at this time of year, so we're into November now, heading towards the Christmas period, I think you'd be much more likely to do well at this time of year than you would be in March, April or May. All right, so think about that. And if you are making items to sell, then think about batching stuff around a season early, so if you're thinking about the Christmas market, then be thinking around August, September time, because you don't want to be rushing in October, November, maybe going to your craft fair and doing really well and not having enough seasonal items to sell. So I do think there's a real good place for the likes of a craft fair or an artisan market, particularly if you're just starting out, because it allows you to dip your toes. You get a lot of customer feedback because a lot of these places have a high footfall. So what's working and what's not. Worth paying 25 quid for the day for to find out, because and then if you do 3 or 4 around the autumn into the winter time and it works well for you, then it might give you the confidence to make that next step up to hosting something like a website or going online or looking at some of the other stuff I'm going to talk about now. Now, here in the UK, there are businesses that are willing to take your items and stock them within their business. Now, I'm going to break these down into a couple of separate categories, but the first one I want to talk about are the likes of the farm shop or the garden centre. Now, I've approached quite a few of these places and I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback of what I think about it. So you go into these places, they're always very nice. They've probably got a cafe. They have a variety of different traders, might be things like candles, might be outdoor furniture, bespoke woodworking items, might be part of a garden centre, that kind of thing. And most of these will offer what they call a sale return, so you can actually stock your items. They don't pay anything for you, but when they sell, you restock them and then they sort out the business transaction with them paying you back. There are some issues with this though, and I'm going to relate some of my experiences. I have gone to some of these lovely, nice farm shop places and they want up to a 50% of the retail price from you. So if you had a wooden chopping board that you want to sell and you say, well, my sale price for that would be £24.95, £25. So they want £12.50 from you in order for you to stock your items in their shops, 50%. So what I actually might as well just do is walk in and give them my bespoke wooden items and just walk away, because there's no money in it for me. And you've got to be kind of mindful of that when you go in, because I totally get they have a business to run. They've got to keep the lights on, they've got to keep the heating on, they've got that space where someone else could be selling that, so they've got to make their money, all right? That makes perfect sense. However, you're not in it for out the goodness of your heart. You've got to make a living as well, haven't you? So if you're going in and you approach a farm shop and you get to meet the manager or the owner or whatever, and their opening gambit is, we take 40% or we take 50%. Is it worth it to you? No, it won't be. It'd probably be costing you money for you to stock it in there. So yeah, that's a tough one. As I say, I've approached several. The lowest that I was offered was 30% commission, and the highest was 50%. And I said no to all of them. It just wouldn't be worth, even for a month or two, just to try and get a bit of brand recognition out there. It's just not worth it to me. And I don't imagine it'd be worth it to you guys as well. There are other ways in which I'm going to talk about towards the end of this video where I think it works very well for an independent trader, an independent seller like us. But in terms of going to the big garden centres, the big farm shops, and they want that big chunk. The other way sorry, just to finish on this, that if you say I sell these for £25, they say, well, they want this, say 40% in between the median of what I've just talking about. They might then say, well, they'll up the retail price, so they'll put the retail price at £32.95. And then I've had conversation going, well, that's too expensive for that, people won't buy it. Well, we'll list it at that. And I said, no, it just won't happen. So I don't see the logic in that either. So it's worth trying, because I'm not saying every garden centre, farm shop, butcher type, those kind of big places. I'm not saying they're all like that. So it's worth going and engaging in that conversation. But if it's not right for you, walk away. All right. Just say, thank you very much. I'll be in touch. Can I take your number? Be all polite and professional about it. But if you know deep down that whatever they're quoting to you is not going to work for you, turn around and walk away. It's not worth it. Right, I've saved the best till last. These have been the two best ways that I have been able to sell physical products, smaller ones like charcuterie boards, chopping boards, that kind of thing. And I'm going to share how I've done it with you. And I've done this via my social medias, so if you follow me on the likes of Instagram and Facebook, I've been dead open about these kind of things. And this is what has worked really well for me over the last couple of years. And the first one was setting up a rental space, in Liverpool, called the Red Brick Market. Now, the Red Brick Market is in the heart of the Baltic Triangle here in Liverpool, and it is exclusively aimed at independent small businesses. In effect, it's a giant warehouse, and you pay a rental on either a small space. Mine is an 8x4 wall, or you can have a small unit, or you can have a larger unit. And all you have to do is you have to populate your sales space with your beautiful handcrafted items, and then leave them to do the rest. You don't have to staff it, and they take care of the sales on a centralized till near the door. This has worked brilliantly for me, all right, because if you're a one-man band, setting up and having a market stall means you have to staff it. All right, and if you have to do it yourself, that means you're not in the workshop making items. If you have to pay someone, then you're not making any money. Simple as that. When you do a craft fair, it's just fine, say 25 quid for the day or something, but you have to be there for the day, obviously. So that's your time as well. The Red Brick Market isn't just exclusively in Liverpool. I believe they got one in Birmingham. I think they might have one in Nottingham as well. But these kind of places are popping up more and more around the country because money is tight, money is difficult, and it has been for several years now for a lot of families. And I think people are more willing to spend their money on an independent local business person than they are at the big, corporate things, because, they want to help to support their local communities, help support their local businesses. Search out something like, look what the Red Brick does. If you go on the Red Brick website or you go on the Red Brick Instagram page, and see if there's anything like that within your locality. Because what the Red Brick does as well, they don't take commission on sales. I think they take 2% for the credit card transaction fees, which it cost me that on my website anyway. So that's, so if it's for £10, they take 20 pence. So it's a great way of doing it, and it's great for brand awareness because you can have some business cards on there, you can have your logo up there. All I need to do is regularly restock my shelves. So I might go down there once a week, once every other week, put some new items on. If I've got new designs, I can put them on there. It's been a fantastic success for me, and hopefully long may it continue as well. It's great for football, great for footfall, not football. That's another part of the city. And there's over 250 independent retailers in there now. So there's a little community of folk as well who help each other out. Brilliant place. Thoroughly recommend researching to see if there's any of those in your locality, and a great way of stepping up if you're going from hobbyist to craft fair. It's logically the next step to have a permanent space for physical sales, because it allows people to pick things up, feel the quality of finish, more likely to make a purchase, in my humble opinion, than the likes of, say, your online store on your website, or on the likes of Etsy as well. And my last piece of advice, which I genuinely think probably is the best piece of advice I could give in this video, but it's probably one of the most challenging as well, particularly if you're not feeling confident enough to go up to strangers who run other businesses, because I found it really challenging, but I'm so glad that I did it. Now, wherever you are in your locality in the UK or in the world, my best piece of advice I could offer in this respect is to go and speak to other small independent businesses in your locality. And the reason I say this is, for me, it's helped generate sales massively, both guiding people towards my website and physical sales as well. I spoke to an independent butcher who's close to me. I've got to know really well over the years now, Rob. And Rob has very kindly allowed me to have a table in his butcher's. He's a one-man band. He's small independent butchers here where I live in Formby. And he very kindly lets me stock some of my items there. So when people are coming in, and you've got a captive audience, because he's a busy butcher's, and you've got people looking at the items, picking items up, saying, oh, you can buy him directly from him, say, oh, who's this guy? And he engages in a conversation there, saying, oh, he's a fellow local independent businessman, here's his card, here's his number, get in touch. And that engages a conversation, whether that's making bespoke items, whether it's making batches of items for someone, things that have come from it, like corporate events and weddings and stuff, all from me engaging in a conversation with another small independent business. And he sees it as mutually beneficial, because people come in to talk about that stuff, to purchase items, and then obviously buying, items from him. So that's been brilliant. Another piece of advice I could give is speaking with other independent businesses can really help with your advertising. I wouldn't say it as free advertising, but I'd say it as targeted advertising. And just let me explain this last bit, if that's okay. We've got a bar in the heart of Formby that, again, is run by two local guys, and it's an independent bar. So it's not a Wetherspoons, it's not run by a corporate conglomerate or whatever, so it's just local to us. And I made them a tabletop, which I inlaid the logo into it, and I put glow-in-the-dark resin in it. I took it down to them. They've always been really good with us. They're dog-friendly. They make a big fuss of Zeus when we go in, and I just wanted to do it as a thank you, really. And they absolutely loved it. So it has pride of place in the bar, and that's engaged a conversation with customers going in, going, where did you get that from? I want something like that. And they go, oh, it's just a local guy. He comes in for a drink. Here's his card. Get in touch. What it's also done is I have now started a program of restoration, refurbishment, or whatever you want to call it. I'm starting by replacing some of the tabletops. So the first thing they've ordered 6 tabletops from me, exactly like that, because they loved it that much. So it's generated business for me from another independent business, but it's also given me really targeted free. It's free. It was the time, it was my materials to make a tabletop. All right, so it's not free, but it's brilliant targeted advertising. If I was to like spend, if I was to go into one of those local small ads in the local freebie papers or those kind of things, it'd cost me a fortune and I'd get little or no business from it. The bar is very busy. It's in the heart of Formby. People, so it's local residents and stuff going in, looking at that going, I want one of them. So that's worked really well for me. The challenge is for you to get yourself out there and do that. You know, and I know that can be difficult. It certainly wasn't easy for me. I don't find those things easy. But what I did do over a period of time, I got to know them. So I wasn't just some random stranger walking in. And I just wanted to do it as a thank you. But also, you know, there was a little bit of a business brain behind me there, thinking this could potentially lead to something. So, you know, seek out these independent, you know, it's not worth it if it's a chain of places, because it's just a manager who then has to report to a section manager and they come back and say no or whatever. But if it is someone like yourself, they're just a local small family business or an independent business, then what have you got to lose? You know, what have you got to lose? You know, you could get a rejection and say no, but you go, oh, thanks very much, you know, have a nice day, that kind of thing. But if they go, oh, that's interesting, yeah, well, bring some stuff in, let me have a look and let's have a little conversation, all right? And then you're doing something for them, but also they're getting benefit from you as well. And that has been the best thing for me. That's the best thing I've done, particularly in the last 6 to 12 months. That and the red brick market has worked fantastically well for me. Online, my website has been great for my own bespoke items. So when I'm making bespoke items of furniture or the likes of my, you know, my wax and stuff or jigs, that kind of thing, my website's worked really well, and also my members platform as well. So there's my experience that I've shared. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts and opinions on it in the comments section as well. You know, maybe, you know, because I know people do read those. So if you've got anything that I've missed out and you go, oh, this works really well for me, or you disagree with me, you know, you're doing flying on Etsy and things have worked really well, then how's that worked for you, and share those experiences as well. You've got the comment section there, you've got my social medias as well, and I appreciate all of that kind of input because it does help me on my journey. You know, I am learning as I go along, but I have gathered a bit of experience over the last few years, and I just wanted to share that in this video with you guys as well. You know, if you've enjoyed, very rarely did I say this, I'm trying to be more inclined to say it. If you've enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. If you're feeling really flush, Christmas is coming up, then maybe you might consider subscribing to my web subscription or YouTube membership either. You know, where you get behind the scenes footage and you also get access to these kind of videos in ad-free format. Okay, as ever folks, take care and look after yourselves. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.